Alright everyone, we're going to be talking about composite functions today. So what is a composite function? Well, a composite function is basically a function of a function. So it would be written as like f of g of x, where the notation here demonstrates that if you have some function f of x and some function g of x, what you're doing is in this notation where you have f of g of x, you're going to take your x value, you're going to plug it into g of x, and you're going to get some output. Let's call that g. Okay? And then the output you got from this, you're then going to plug that output into f of x, and you're going to get your final output, f. Okay? So basically, it's taking g of x as an input to f of x, okay? And another notation we have for that is, instead of writing f of g of x, we can write f of g like this, okay? These are equivalent notations. They mean the same thing. So let's demonstrate an example first of all, okay? Let's say I gave you f of x equals 3x plus 2, and I gave you a different function g of x equals negative x squared plus 4, okay? So let's say I wanted you to find f of g, okay? And I wanted you to find it as a function of x. So that equals f of g of x, okay? So basically what we're going to do is first we're going to take g of x right here, negative x squared plus 4, and that's going to be the input that we input into f of x. And so where does our input go? It goes into x. So let's rewrite it like that, okay? We're going to have f of x equals 3 times our input, which in this case was negative x squared plus 4, plus the remainder of our function, okay? So this has now become our composite function, okay? F of g. I think it would be more accurate for me to write this as f of g equals all of this. Okay, now let's continue to simplify this. This becomes negative 3x squared. Again, I'm distributing the 3 into this. Negative 3x squared plus 12 plus 2. So negative 3x squared plus 14. That is my composite function. That is f of g. Now, alternatively, I could be asked to find g of f. So let's go through that for a moment. G of f. That is going to equal g of f of x. So f of x is going to be our input into g of x. So let's write that out. G of x is equal to negative our input squared plus 4. And so what's our input going to be? Our input is going to be f of x, which is going to be 3x plus 2. Okay? So let's remember order of operations for a moment. Your exponent always comes before multiplication. So we're going to square this first. So that's going to be 3x plus 2 times 3x plus 2. We're going to bring down our negative and our plus 4. Now let's try and FOIL this out. If we do 3x times 3x, that's going to give us 9x squared. 3x times 2 is going to be plus 6x. 2 times 3x is going to give us another plus 6x. And finally, 2 times 2 is going to give us a positive 4. We're going to bring down our negative and our positive 4. So now let's bring this up. That becomes a negative 9x squared minus 6x minus 6x minus 4. And I'm going to combine my two minus 6x's into a minus 12x. And we're going to bring down our plus 4 from before. Okay, so now this negative 4 and this positive 4 cancel out, and my remaining function is negative 9x squared minus 12x. That, my friends, is g of f. So let me give us two new functions for us to be able to practice with. I'm going to give us f of x equals 2x plus 7, and I'm going to give us g of x equals 4 minus x to the third. Okay? So let's say I want to find f of g of negative 1. How would we go about that? Well, first, let's find g of negative 1. G of negative 1 equals 4 minus negative 1 to the third. Now, negative 1 to the third is just negative 1, so it becomes 4 minus negative 1, which becomes 5. So now, this is equal to f of 5, which means 5 is now what I plug in here. So f of 5 equals 2 times 5 plus 7. which equals 10 plus 7, which equals 17. Okay, so all in all, I get f of g of -1 equals 17. Now let's try again now, but here we're going to deal with g of f of -4. Okay? So let's first compute f of -4, because that's our input. F of -4 is going to equal -4 times 2 plus 7, which is going to equal -8 plus 7, which is going to equal -1. Okay? So now -1 is what f of -4 is, so that's going to be our input into g of x, right here. So now we need to compute g of -1. Now that is going to equal 4 minus -1 to the third, which we just so happen to have already done and we know is equal to 5. So we can now say that g of f of -4 is equal to 5. Okay, so that's how we evaluate our composite functions given certain x values. Anyway, enjoy life.